use the company credit card, so to speak, at the strip club. But Gary Moeller got drunk and punched a cop.
Oh, okay, that'll do it.
And that's why he got fired at Michigan. So
he was pretty good there, too.
Yeah, they'd won the conference title, I think, the first 3 years he was there. But, of course, Gary Moeller's firing led to Lloyd Carr getting hired, which was a boon for Michigan, eventually winning a national title. Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy under Lloyd Carr. Desmond Howard won the Heisman Trophy under Lloyd Carr. So, again, it was Lloyd Carr taking over was actually a really good thing for Michigan, and they rolled on. And that's maybe I don't know. I mean, the Schembechler era they were great too, but that's the most recent great era was Lloyd Carr's run at Michigan that came out of Gary Moeller getting drunk and punching a cop.
Alleged drunken outburst following an arrest, disorderly conduct at now defunct Excalibur restaurant in Southfield, Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any real recollection of this whatsoever, but yeah, that's interesting, and I definitely, recall Lloyd Carr and what he was able to do at Michigan, but don't have much of a memory in this one.
He had one team in '92; they were 9-0-3.
Yeah,
won the conference and played in the Rose Bowl.
I guess then if Michigan, if he was there in '92,
he was there from '94 to '90. That was the 90 to '94.
Okay, so it was in '94. So but Gary Moeller and then Lloyd Carr. So he did have Desmond Howard. My apologies for those of you in the comments. Number 4, Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss.
Yep.
Using the company's cell phone to book escorts. Not a good idea, and led to a fantastic divorce. Although a short time out of the SEC, he went to Liberty. I mean, he didn't stop being a good coach.
Resurrected his career.
But resurrected his career and is now back at Auburn. But that was another very unique way to get fired.
He's just trying to do what God told him to do and help out those poor young women, I'm sure.
Trying to give him.
That's why they call him the Dragon.
Trying to give him a pat on the back.
That's why they call him the Dragon, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this was very interesting because it was scandalous, and we love a good scandal, and especially when there's things, involving women and cell phones and, it's a lot was going on all of a sudden for Hugh Freeze. And it was not a very glorious exit, but didn't take him long to dust himself off and rebound. And he had the TV gig, and then he didn't have a TV gig, did he?
I think he took a year off, and then he went
I'm thinking of him on TV in the hospital bed at the Liberty game, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. For some reason, I don't know why I associated that with TV gig, but that image is like burned into my head. But yeah, that was a wild time.
He was just trying to give those women emotional and physical support.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs it, I guess. Number 3 in the dumbest reason to fire a coach category, Mike Leach at Texas Tech. I have no problem.
This is still one that there are, unfortunately.
All due respect to the great Spike Dykes, but the greatest head football coach in Texas Tech history was the Pirate, Mike Leach. And I think his blunt manner of dealing with things obviously could have used some massaging, but this was a witch hunt started by Craig James because he was mad because his son wasn't playing, and decided he was going to get Mike Leach out. And so Craig James, got this all going, and the higher ups at Texas Tech were already mad at Mike Leach because he had the gall to want to write a book and keep all the money from it. And the university said, no, you should give us some of that money. And it was already a fight that was brewing, and they just needed a little stupid excuse. And Craig James gave that to them. They weren't the same for a decade. And now they finally have some excitement with Joey McGuire, but this one was
one of those divorces that really never ended.
It would never ended, and I thought it was really unfortunate. But Mike Leach, and he would sign books. Mike Leach, CJK5H, Craig James killed 5 hookers.
Yeah.
Just to take shots at Craig James again. But yeah, this one was fantastical and stupid, and they could have just let him walk after the contract wasn't over. They didn't have to. They didn't have to do all this. He could have just gone and taken another job. They could have saved themselves.
Didn't he eventually did Tech beat him in the bowl game?
Yeah, they beat him last year.
Last year.
They could have saved a lot of egg on their face.
Yeah. Okay.
This was a big to-do. Certainly the debate on, punishment of athletes, and it got into a wide-ranging, a number of opinions on who was right, who was wrong, who was doing what, and that was a wild time as well. Unfortunate that, such a great amount of success was just kind of, burned overnight. Almost it feels like, it's just like they were a hot brand and all of a sudden Leach is gone. And then, man, it was kind of dark there for a little while. I tell you, man, this is not on Texas Tech fans or on Leach or on anybody in particular, but it did kind of leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I have no issue whatsoever with everybody and their outpouring of support after his passing, obviously. But given that there was some, like, still underlying issues, it was just weird to me to see them, like, flying the flag and Leach and all this. And it's like, but you never would pay him his money, you know? And it's like, I remember when we had Chris Level on it, and I totally understand the timing of it. Like, don't get me wrong. I totally get it. And at the morning and all that absolutely is just. But, we had him on, and it was too close. It was too soon to be asking him about that riff. He didn't want to talk about it because he was still mourning the passing, and that was understandable. It wasn't really the time to dive into that topic, but it was unresolved, and it will always be unresolved. And, I just found that really strange of how – you would have thought that, like, he retired there and had gone off and, like, was this living legend. It's like, no, there was a lot of friction that was still there, and that's unfortunate that couldn't be resolved. But obviously a lot of people were able to show their love for him in the end.
Number 2 in the why'd you even do a press conference after this, Bobby Petrino at Arkansas. Look, Emory's using the picture again, and he demanded that Bobby Petrino be on this list. And
is it the one with the head brace? And
yeah. Here's what I've wondered about this, because Bobby Petrino fired after an inappropriate relationship with a university employee in which they were in a motorcycle crash together, very famously leading to the picture that you see on your screen. I don't know why they bothered to do a press conference. That, to me, is a very press release-y type thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's no longer
the athletic director can do a press conference, but I'm not bringing Bobby Petrino out in front of cameras again. Like, that's it. Like, he's no longer here. It's not appropriate for him to speak on this, and we're going to let him move on. But to roll him out in front of the cameras, I will one day, if I ever meet somebody who was there covering it, I will ask them, like, why do they feel the need for Bobby Petrino to roll out there and humiliate himself like that? Now, granted, look, he's at A&M now. He's been at other places. He's still continued to coach, but that will be burned in people's brains forever.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the goofiest, just most absurd moments in college football history, in my opinion, was him rolling up to that, or, being at the press conference with his neck brace and his scratched up face. And just that was a meme. That was a Hall of Fame meme, and still has a spot in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure. And I see it pop up still from time to time as well whenever he's brought up or something crazy happens in college sports. But yeah, that was a wild story. Most of these are. And that one, yeah, certainly there was a lot to unpack there when you're like, wait, who was on the motorcycle and who was she? Yeah, it was crazy.
And number 1, Lane Kiffin, with everyone who he worked for before. We'll get, like, FAU kind of knew the score, but everyone else, look, left Tennessee in the middle of the night to take the USC job, got fired on the tarmac by USC. Al Davis brought a whole PowerPoint presentation at the Raiders. I know this isn't college football, but I mean, it still bears mentioning that Al Davis had a whole PowerPoint presentation with charts and graphs as to why he was firing Lane Kiffin in the middle of the season. So Lane Kiffin, look, when he goes out with a bang. And, he got in, he was the most successful probably, or first big Coach Saban rehabilitation program graduate. But yeah, when he leaves somewhere, it is not on good terms.
And he seems to be, although he's been rumored for some other things, he's doing a pretty nice job at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Seems to be kind of locked in there. I don't know how much longer, but he's been there enough to where he's kind of stabilized what they're doing. But yeah, he's had some. What was he left in the tarmac? Is that what it was, or they were like, "You're not getting on this plane.
Yeah.
You're done." Yeah.
They were like, "No, we'll get you a ticket on the another flight back, but you're not coming back with this team."
You're on standby with Spirit Airlines.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a very pretty exit, all the way really with Tennessee prior to that, and like you said, he's just it's kind of been messy. Various stops that he's had. I do wonder about him of like, what's the end game? Is he the head coach at Alabama one day? You can say like he's at Ole Miss for right now, but like, where's he gonna? Where would he potentially go? I have no idea. He's already been at Tennessee. He's already been at USC. He's already like. You know, I'm just curious of what that next step up. I mean, obviously there's programs bigger, better built than Ole Miss historically and presently. But yeah, he's a kooky figure, man, and he's somebody that keeps college football interesting for better or worse. And he certainly had some of his worst moments, you know, out there right in the public eye, and he's still standing and handling it pretty well and staying, you know, amusing. So yeah, he's definitely got a place on this list.
Well done. Thank you, Paul.